Let's get into post workflow. The gentleman who brought you this little iPad app also brings a solution called 3D Toolbox. I think my time's getting going here, so I'll hurry along. 3D Toolbox is designed for Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, and After Effects. And it's a plugin for Final Cut Pro, After Effects, and Adobe Premiere. But since this is Final Cut Pro Users Group, we won't mention any of those other ones. So let's have a look. We'll go back. There's also, There's also a program called Cineform. I'll leave that up to the guys who are talking about that shortly. But let's have a look at Final Cut Pro. So I'm going to take my card. I've pre-prepared one. I'm going to put it in the computer. And I'm going to go into Final Cut Pro. And I'm going to go to File, Log and Transfer. That's the same way you do any solid state recording mechanism. I'm going to choose my card. Oh, the bouncing beach ball. Uh-oh. My computer's a couple of years old, so you've got to go easy on it. There's my card, and you notice I've labeled it 8 GB right-hand side. So we're going to go into this little folder. We're going to choose AVC HD, and that's all I need to know. And there's my card. All the clips that I've shot on that card are thumbnails. We're visual people. We don't want to look at shot lists. We don't want to look at file names. We just want to look at pictures. And so there they are. And so we can look at this clip. We can play the clip. Okay? And it plays in real time. And if we like that clip, we can drag it across to our clip bin. And there it goes. It's now going to be in our clip bin. I'm just going to cancel that. So we don't, I've already done it. I've prepared it ahead of time. So here's a clip, left side. I've labeled it left. For those of you in the back row who were scared to sit in the front. There it is, left and right. I'm going to drag that over to the viewer. And there's a little effect called, a little plug-in called Cinema Tools. Dashwood Effects, Video Filters, Dashwood Toolbox, Stereo Clip Coupler, because I got a left signal and a right signal. And we're just going to join them together. And there they are. I'll just close this. So now we look at the filter. And I better enlarge this a little bit for you so you can all see. I'm going to put the clip is on the timeline, but I'm going to put the left eye and the right eye, I'm going to put one in a little well right here. There goes the right eye for that clip. I'm not about to teach you how to use this program because it just didn't work for me. Filters, Dashwood, left eye, right, side by side. There we go. So there's my two, side by each, the clips, and they play together back and forth.
We're not known.
On the timeline. Okay? Very, very simple to do. So the Dashwood plugin is easy to use. You pull your left clip, your right clip in, you join them together, and you can put them on the timeline. And there really is just one clip on the timeline. You can see here, we're just playing. There's another clip. You only see the one clip, the left clip, because the right clip is actually buried over here inside. That's how easy it is. And it just gets processed the regular way. So how do we output this? We've shot all this 3D. Big deal. Where's it going to go? In the previous presentation, they talked about content. You know, Panasonic sells plasma screens, and they come with a free DVD with some content on it. But you can't go to the local video store and rent a lot of 3D movies. It will come. The first year DVDs came out, you could get maybe 100 titles. The second year, there was about 1,500. So it will happen. Right now, on YouTube, there is 3D content. Bell TV, Shaw, both have demo channels. Rogers just came up with a demo channel. Does Videotron have one yet? So They have these demo channels, and they go side by side. So you've got the left channel squeezed in half the screen and the right channel squeezed on half the screen. Blu-ray, of course, you can buy Blu-ray. Avatar in 3D will be released at Christmas time. It is being authored in the Panasonic Hollywood Blu-ray labs as we speak. And you can create QuickTime and Flash files in 3D. So we talked about how do you look at it. Do you use the passive glasses? Do you use the little red and green jobbies like this? Or do you use the active glasses? Oops. Well, in this case, you don't need any glasses. But there's many different ways of presenting it. One being the anaglyph, as we talked about, red and green. The line-by-line method, or polarized, or frame sequential. Frame sequential gives you the best quality. When you go to see Avatar at the local cinema, you put on the cheap and cheerful Real D plastic glasses, right? $3 extra for admission, and you got the glasses to keep. Were you supposed to keep them? I kept mine. So that's pretty good. But if you'd gone to the IMAX theater and watched it in 3D, you would have had active shutter glasses. And active shutter glasses give you the best response. I'll talk about that. The monitor you're looking at over here is accepting 2 HDSDI signals from the camera. You look at it with polarized glasses. It would be used in the edit suite to edit with 3D. Now, one caution. You would never, ever edit with your glasses on the whole time. Anybody know why? Because you look stupid with them on. No. The reason is you'd get nauseous from watching all that much 3D. And the other thing is your brain would trick you into thinking your 3D looked great. You've already tricked the producers into thinking your video's great, but your eyes have gone and made it look correct when it probably isn't. So a 3D editor will do this. Put them down. Have a look, put them down. Never leave them on for about more than 2 hours at a time. You would edit just by looking through the glasses. It could be as simple as this, red and green. So our monitor is a production series monitor. It's designed to show 3D. It comes with polarized glasses. Later on, you can come up and have a look at it. When you connect to a Panasonic Plasma, and I'll just do some gratuitous advertising here, what the heck. The Plasma gives you the best theater experience in the home, bar none. Has the best blacks, the best contrast ratio, the best ability to handle fast motion. And the 3D Plasma also comes with sequential glasses. It does not use polarized, it uses the shuttered glasses to give you the best 3D experience. You can go off axis of the monitor. You can walk at this side, that side, sit down, stand up. It will not lose its image. Whereas something like this, you have to be pretty well square on. It has a sweet spot. And the 3D Plasma, someone asked me, well, can I still watch 2D on it? Anybody know the answer? Yes. Does a great job of 2D, by the way. So the sequential glasses, as Renee had said before, give you sequential. And the nice thing about that, as opposed to polarized, is it gives you a full frame, 1920 by 1080. It is sending you the left eye, full 1920 by 1080, and then the next fraction of a second, it's sending you the right eye at 1920 by 1080. So you get the full 1080p experience with shuttered glasses. We're going to go on here a little bit. Ooh, look at those excited guys. So with a 3D Blu-ray player, whether it be ours or Samsung or whoever else is out there, we hope you choose a Panasonic Plasma for the best home experience. But let's have a look at the camera briefly. And I'm going to show you, do I have time to show the video, by the way? Is that, who's? Sure. Sure, thank you. I'm going to go through the video. It's just a summation of what I talked about. It is in English, of course, or in Japanese. Anybody want it in Japanese? No. So we'll have a look at the video. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about the camera. You can come up and have a look at it and ask some questions.
Brought to you by Panasonic.
So once we've done our usual, we zoom in, we focus. Okay, there's focus. You're seeing the left and right eye simultaneously on the viewfinder. Can you all see there around me? Is that okay? You can see? Can you see around me? Okay. And you'll see on the viewfinder, or on what I'm seeing in the viewfinder, you'll see, obviously there's a battery indicator up here in the upper right. It tells us that we're up 16 dB here in the low light. It's also telling us that we're on manual focus. We're at 1080p, 60 frames. The sound's on automatic limit control. I got 30 minutes of recording time left. But it also has some other things here. MF67, that's the focus. Manual focus. There is no zoo in here. That happens to be the zoom. And it's an arbitrary number between 0 and 99. And C00 is the convergence. Now watch, if you can see, I'm going to go in on the Olympic logo here. And you can see you've got double image, the left eye and the right eye. So when I cover one, the double image goes away. So I'm going to converge on that image. And all I'm going to do is rotate that. It's now converged on the sign. So anything that appears in front of the image will be will appear popped out from the screen, and anything behind, well, there's nothing behind, will appear deep inside the screen. And if I spin that around this way, I'll have to pick somebody in the light over there. You can see that I'm going to converge. It's converged there. And you notice the number went to 60, because before I was at a different setting. So in the field, I can actually see that the man in the greenish shirt there, I've converged on him. He's going to appear to be at the screen frame. You in the front row are going to be popped out in front, and you in the back row are going to appear to be inside the screen. Is this easy? Has everybody got that? Nope. Nope? Okay. He's an honest man. Yeah. I'm sorry? Can you do the conversion in post? No. No. First of all, I don't want to pay the post guy, and second of all, I can only do minor adjustments in post-production. It's like if you overexpose in shooting, can you fix that in post? No. No. So 3D, you must set that convergence. If it's slightly off, and you say, oh, it could be a little bit, you can adjust a little bit in that software, in editing software, whether it be the Final Cut or whatever. You can adjust a little bit. Remember, with our camera, you don't need to adjust any vertical disparity, rotational disparity, or anything like that. They're both locked in. The roadies are busy doing things here. Yeah.
If I shoot a pedestrian from the camera going back to the field.
Back, a pedestrian walking away from the camera?
Then,
Yeah.
well, maybe I should just fix a convergence somewhere. I mean, maybe at 20 feet.
Yes.
And the pedestrian is going from the front to the...
Correct. So the question is, if you've got a shot of someone walking away from the camera, do you just fix your convergence point at some point, and will they just appear to walk away from the camera? Yes, they will. And they will appear in 3D space to move from the front of the screen to the back of the screen, because that's what they're doing.
So there's no way to correct the convergence at the same time on the
rack focus, rack convergence.
You would not rack convergence, because it's going to make your audience nauseous, because they have to go and, what the heck's going on with that picture? If I was to sit like this and shoot, let me give you an example. I'm sorry to pick the man in the spotlight over there. I'll pick on someone else. There you are. I'm going to converge on this gentleman here with the white, the very light blonde hair. So I've converged on that gentleman there. So he's going to appear at the screen plane. But if I change convergence in the shot, he's all of a sudden going to just float through space. But focus has nothing to do with it. I didn't change focus. He's still in focus. N'est-ce pas? He's still in focus. But the convergence is off. Yes, sir. What's the focal length? I'd have to go look that up. The focal length, I mean the actual, what's the millimeters of the lens?
No, the F.
Oh, the f-stop? Yeah, it's identical for both lenses. It's about f1.2, I believe. The question is, does the picture look like film or does it look like video? You choose that because the camera has the capability of doing a cinema gamma, like a film gamma, or a video gamma. You can shoot 24 frames per second or you can shoot 60 frames per second. So you have the choice of have a video look or a film look. Those are choices you'd make with our cameras anyway. 3D just happens to be a little extra. And the only adjustment you make is a convergence, and it has nothing to do with focus. Yeah?
If the conversion is so important, why did you place it at the same place as the iris?
If the convergence was...
It's so important, why did you place it at the same place as the iris?
Good question. Why is it the same button for iris and convergence? Lots of people have asked us this question. I thought the same thing until I used the camera. When I set up my camera, I focus, I check my iris, and then I do my convergence. And then if I want to follow the iris, change iris while I'm shooting, then I switch the switch back to iris. But I would never change both of them simultaneously. The convergence stays. If the convergence is on, I like your hat, full HD. If the convergence is on full HD, or does it just mean heavy duty? I don't know. If it's there, it won't change. The iris might change if I go from him to here because it's brighter. It doesn't matter what the iris is, I don't get any brighter than that, okay. So yeah, this changes, and once that's set, then the iris is going to change. But the convergence isn't for that shot. The convergence will stay. Yeah. Just wait a minute, live, sorry, we'll finish this one up live.
Well, like, if I'm, I don't know,
Doing a hockey game?
or something like that. If I'm a journalist and I want to report something and I'm moving all the time.
All right, it's a good question. I did the Toronto International Film Festival. We had a 3D plasma in the lobby of the theater, and I shot the red carpet as the stars came along the red carpet, and then I ran inside and developed the film really quick and put the video on the plasma, and people could actually see the red carpet as they came into the theater. I did not change my convergence point at all, because the red carpet was basically a media scrum. I don't know how do you translate that in same scrum? You know, you stand around and do nothing for 20 minutes, and then all hell breaks loose, and the stars come, and you're jostling for position. But I fixed my convergence point about from me to you. That was my convergence point.
So you make a ratio.
I made a decision, and I used the little help screen to tell me what distance, and I had 1.2 meters to about 15 meters at that setting, and I kept it on wide angle. You had a question there, but yes.
The first one was the nano flash system you talked about.
Yes.
You're talking about green screen.
Yes.
Can you do it without that system, with just the cards, or is it?
Sure, yeah, the green screen, sometimes people say, oh, I want to use AVC Intra as my codec, or I want to use DVC Pro as a codec, because it's better for doing green screen, because it's 422. Whereas AVC HD, by its very nature, is long GOP and 420. Yeah.
When the C00 factor,
Yes.
you said we had like a sweet spot of the distance
Yes.
for conversion point,
Right.
and you were talking about the 2.1 meter thing,
Right.
meters, which I didn't see on this.
You can't see on this screen. I don't think it'll appear. This is a pre-production camera, so I don't think I can put it. Oh, there it goes. It does work. So you see, there's my guide, and it's telling me that I'm good from 3 meters to infinity at that convergence point. And if I change that convergence point, you'll see how the numbers change, right?
That's right.
So, and it also changes as I zoom in. You'll see it changing. This camera does not have a very large zoom ratio. It's 3D. If we gave 3D cameras to the producer of Hockey Night in Canada, he'd screw up. Why? How many cameras are on Hockey Night in camera? like 20, right? The Leafs still lose, doesn't matter which camera angle you've got. So that guy using all those cameras to get you into the action. Different points of view. 3D, lock it down, put it on the center ice, go back and forth. Your eyes will do that. It's 3D. We'll find out how well they do. Panasonic has sponsored the first 3D hockey night in Canada for December. They're using Panasonic 3D cameras. They're in rigs. And they'll use this as a floater. But we are sponsoring Hockey Night in Canada in December and the outdoor game. Where's that? Calgary this year? Calgary. So run down to, be like the 50s, everybody down at Best Buy looking in the window, watching 3D, I don't know. But it will be broadcast in 3D. Did that answer whatever question I got off on it?
A small last one.
Sure.
Probably on the side anyways, but what is the lens in there? Because you can't change the lens, obviously.
You cannot change the lens. No. So I started out to say it's not a particularly long telephoto lens. And it's a fairly wide angle lens. There are limitations. The camera's doing some software, well, there's a fair bit of software going on to correct for pincushion, distortion. While you zoom, you can zoom, and the camera will track perfectly in 3D. That's software doing the work in there. And it does a very good job of it. So. It's not a fixed lens. It is a zoom lens. Look. There's wide, and there's telephoto. You know what? I haven't taken time to actually think about it. So, because the lens had, on the first cameras that came out, they hadn't finalized the actual zoom ratio on the lens. And the new cameras have just been delivered this month, and the second batch is coming out in this month. So when I get my hands on a brand new one, actually Lucio's getting yours next week. I'm still on factory samples. So. Okay. Yeah, I know. So if I was to come up to that screen now, if anybody wants to come up, I think I got 3D. You look just as good in 3D as you do in person, so that works perfectly. So that is the way. When I went out and shot for the first time, and I'll throw up some footage here, the camera, when I go into playback mode, I will apologize. These are very early pre-production, very early code cameras. The computer is very, very early. I went out and shot, and I spent the weekend at the cottage. I went out and shot probably 15, 20 minutes shots. I probably had 30 shots. Half of them were crap. They worked in 2D. They were beautiful in 2D. They didn't work in 3D. Yes, Renee?
1080 or 720?
Sure.
Or both?
Sure. Not at the same time, but no, 720 and 1080, either one on the camera, yeah. So I went out and shot, and there was this lovely shot of some beautiful reeds and bulrushes in the foreground by the lake, and I got my tripod out and I framed it up, and it looked great. It was a beautiful, beautiful shot. Water lapping the shore, lovely, blue skies. Well, you took a look at it when we got back to the office on Monday, and I looked at it in 3D and just about barfed because the reeds were too close. My brain could not fuse the 3D imaging. They were too close. The same would happen in a 3D image if in the frame someone came in from the side and blocked part of the frame. Because the left eye is seeing a much different image than the right eye that close, that's called a frame intrusion error. And you learn very quickly, oops, that doesn't work. But by the second time I shot with this camera, I was an expert. And now I'm a pro. And that's how easy it is. This camera, although it's not designed to replace rigs, but by golly, when we gave this camera to a test site in Vancouver called the Vancouver Aquarium, and they backpacked into Haida Gwaii out in the Queen Charlotte's, down a cliff, and shot little birds' nests hanging from a line with that camera, they were sure glad they didn't have a rig with them, because they would have had to have a helicopter and then a Tyler mount or a Westcam mount. So it has great potential to go places where 3D has never gone before. I know it sounds cliche, but it really is easy. The other thing is we have a whole new generation of filmmakers, young people, who are willing to try anything Just look at Vimeo or YouTube. There's some really bad stuff there. But then there's some really good stuff because they experiment and they learn. They crash and burn and they get back up and they do it again. And in 3D, they're going to crash and burn, but they're going to do it a whole lot cheaper and faster than they've ever done before, and they're going to learn quickly. And we're going to have better 3D than we've ever had before because it's going to be easier to do. We have a, can I borrow your camcorder? We have produced a camcorder this size in our consumer product line, and you stick a little thing on the front and you may shoot 3D. It's scary how good it is. It's amazing. Everything's amazing, and I'm pretty happy about it. But a little camera like this camera shoots, by the way, AVC HD. Well, it's Panasonic, how about that? So we do make a little camcorder. You'll see it. It's a little attachment. It goes on the front, and it makes your camera into 3D. And you take the chip out of the camera, and you plug it in to the card slot on your Panasonic Plasma, and it will play back when you put your glasses on in 3D. So we're bringing 3D to everyone. And this just makes life a whole lot easier. Let's have a quick look. Everybody can see a double image. We can all get up and stretch, and you come up and you can take turns, and you'll actually see this in 3D. So the thing with this screen is you actually have to sort of be square on. So that concludes kind of my formal little bit of presentation. I know there's some other folks after me, so stand up, stretch, come on up, look at the camera, stretch your muscles. Thank you for listening in English, and thank you for having Panasonic here.